Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain. I'm Rachel and I am providing all of the book reviews I possibly can that are in my brain that I have been reading over the past week and a half. I did record quite a few episodes through right up until Christmas, and then I went on about a week-ish break, visited my mom. Super relaxing time, had a good time with that, and read quite a bit while I was gone. I had a couple audiobooks that I worked through, I had a couple of ebooks that I worked through, and so y'all are going to see me in this outfit and kind of looking like this a couple of times this month. And when I say a couple, it's going to be about 6, because that's about how many books I had to record. And so I am trying to catch up so they don't, my thoughts don't wander away from my brain before I get the chance to talk to you guys about them. And so this particular book is called Immortal by Sue Lynn Tan. And I did have the audiobook from NetGalley, so I want to thank them for providing me with an audiobook in exchange for my honest review. I do try, but I often forget to tell you guys, I usually will tell you if it's an audiobook or an ebook, but I sometimes forget to tell you guys, if it's from NetGalley or what have you. Most of the time, and I'm going to say probably 90% of the time, if it's not a already released sort of book, like one that you can have a physical copy for, I probably do have the ebook from NetGalley. I am very active in NetGalley, and I do try to provide all of my books that they give me a review. I think I've only missed one, maybe 2 in my duration of having been participating with NetGalley. But this one was really well done, and I give it 4 stars. It looks like people are also out there giving it pretty good stars as well. So let's dive in and see what we think with Immortal by Sue Lynn Tan. I will just go ahead and tell you right off the bat, it is a romantasy in a lot of different ways, and so we'll go from there. Now, I also will say that some of these names, even though I listened to the audiobook, the pronunciations have slipped my mind, so I truly apologize when I go ahead and butcher these by accident. So I apologize. But this is a stunning, standalone, romantic fantasy filled with dangerous secrets, forbidden magic, and passion of a young ruler who fights to protect her kingdom. From best-selling author Sue Lynn Tan, and set in the breathtaking world of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So Sue Lynn Tan did write Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I believe also got some really good reviews as well on Goodreads. So if you want to go find that one as well, if you are interested, it sounds like they're set in the same world. I did not read Daughter of the Moon Goddess, but I did click on Sue Lynn Tan's name just to kind of see. And she has 8 books according to Goodreads. And it looks like Daughter of the Moon Goddess still has an average of 4 stars and was published in 2022. So that one is number 1. Daughter of the Moon Goddess is number 1 of the Celestial Kingdom. And then there's the second one, which is called Heart of the Sun Warrior, which is number 2 of the Celestial Kingdom. Now, it seems as though Immortal is not part of the Celestial Kingdom series, but it does take place in the same world from what it sounds like. So, like I said, haven't read those other ones, but this one just sounded really good whenever I was looking, and the cover art is beautiful. I love good cover art. Sometimes they're a little silly, sometimes they're a little fun. This one is beautifully done. So let's dive into the summary real quick and go from there. What the gods did not give us, I would take. As the heir to Tianjia, Li Yin knows she must ascend the throne and renew her kingdom's pledge to serve the immortals who once protected them from a vicious enemy. But when she is poisoned, Li Yin's grandfather steals an enchanted lotus, like the flower, the lotus, to save her life. Enraged at his betrayal, the immortal queen commands the powerful god of war to attack. Upon her grandfather's death, Li Yin ascends a precarious throne, vowing to end her kingdom's obligation to the immortals. When she is summoned to the immortal realm, she seizes the opportunity to learn their secrets and to form a tenuous alliance to safeguard her people, all with the one she should fear and mistrust the most, the ruthless god of war. As they are drawn together, a treacherous attraction ignites between them. One, she has to resist. Two, to not only endanger all she's fighting for. So I'm having trouble reading at the moment. So this treacherous attraction ignites between them, and one she has to resist to not endanger all she's fighting for. I thought they were saying like 1 and 2, but with the darker forces closing in around them and her kingdom plunged into peril, Li Yin must risk everything to save her people from an unspeakable fate, even if it means forging a dangerous bond with the immortal, even if it means losing her heart. So, now someone had listed this as retelling. I'm not sure what retelling, because it's not included in the summary, but it is romantasy, romance, fantasy, and definitely young adult. I can definitely see, and I think in my mind, I do wish it had been just slightly more mature in some of its thought processes. However, really well done. So Sue Lynn Tan herself left this particular comment on the Goodreads for this book. Immortal is my standalone romantic fantasy of an ambitious ruler and ruthless god of war. While set in the same world as Daughter of the Moon Goddess, the story features new characters and can be wholly read independent of the Celestial Kingdom books, nor are there spoilers within this book. So there you go. Love is the core theme in my books and one I delve into here. Li Yin and the God of War are vastly different, yet powerful in their own way. Each carries a great responsibility, both strong and determined, must fight for the world and themselves to bridge a seemingly impossible divide. Immortal is inspired by elements of Chinese mythology, but follows new characters of my own imagining. There is romance, and it's also a tale of ambition, self-discovery, compassion, and vengeance, of the bonds of family and friendship. Thank you for wanting to learn more about Immortal. I am grateful for the chance to share this story and hope you will enjoy spending a little time in the immortal realm and the land and beneath the skies. So I think that's really cool that she kind of left her own little, I don't want to say review, but her own thoughts on what the reader should expect before walking into this book. If you're expecting it to be I wouldn't even say it's a spin-off, because as she says, like, these are new characters, it's a same world, but nothing's going to spoil anything for you with regards. Like, if you read the Celestial Kingdom, it shouldn't spoil this. If you read this, it shouldn't spoil that. I hadn't read the other ones yet, but I thought this was really well done. Probably a little bit romance heavy for me, but that's just my personal thought, because I tend to prefer a little more action adventure. I guess that self-discovery part a little bit more, rather than always diving into the romancy parts. That's just for me a general thought, but I know people will argue with me, and that is totally fine. I fully applaud. Like, I have a friend who love romance and spicy books. Like, that's what she tends to gravitate towards too a lot. And so, you know what? Super thumbs up, because she would actually sell me, because of her enjoyment of those books. She would be able to sell me on reading books like that sometimes, because just of the way she would speak about those books. And so I've probably read more in this past year than I have in a while, with regards to what falls into that romantasy category. I think the world was really well kind of like established, but of course I didn't know it from the other kind of perspective. So let's just go ahead and talk a little bit about the story itself. I'm not going to dive too deep to try to give you any spoilers. I just want to set you up for what like what the premise is. And I think you can kind of see a little bit of that with the summary. So Li Yin is, she drank the water, and supposedly the water in this immortal realm is almost like a poison or a toxin to humans. Well, Li Yin is human. So her grandfather is supposed to be the keeper, or he's supposed to retrieve this lotus and bring it back to the immortal queen. Well, he gets this lotus flower, and instead of giving it to the immortal queen, he gives it to Li Yin to save her life. And I don't feel like this is spoilers because this is literally the opening of the book. This is within the first, not even 50 pages. I would say in the first 25 pages. It's very, very quick in the beginning of the book. So you're going to walk into this fairly quickly. And so now Li Yin has been saved, but her grandfather's life is in jeopardy because he was supposed to be the keeper or the protector of this lotus and bring it to this immortal queen, and he doesn't, and he claims that it was stolen. Well, he doesn't tell them that, Li Yin has already consumed it. And so with her grandfather's passing, she becomes the next ruler of her particular country. And she kind of goes toe to toe with the god of war, but there is a lot of chemistry going on between them just from their very first kind of meeting. And I think that was a little bit, I don't know, it felt a little heavy-handed in my personal thoughts. But again, it's fantasy, it's fiction, it's romantasy, so totally fine with regards to this book. I mean, we've got two very passionate people. One who's very passionate about her country and kind of protecting her grandfather's legacy, and then you've got this god of war who, he's supposed to be this darker force, but I don't know, he doesn't feel all of that. He doesn't feel like an Ares to me, if you want to kind of equate it to Greek mythology. Yes, he seems to be this dark, almost duty-bound figure, but she too has a very similar duty-bound obligation. It's just kind of two different perspectives. So you could say two different sides of the same coin in a lot of different ways that I think Sue Lynn Tan does really well. I think Li Yin is a really well created character. I think she is flawed and she is stubborn in the ways that are enjoyable to see within a written character, because sometimes characters are written almost a little too perfect, and it can be a little grating on your nerves. It just reminds me of, there's one particular comic strip meme, I forget who wrote it, but anyway, it's she's the main character, but she's boring but basic, but everybody loves her, and she can shoot arrows with her feet, and she's also got these two hot boyfriends and all this sort of stuff. So it just kind of reminds me of most kind of love triangles in some of the some kind of other fantasy series. So, and I guess the ones that come to mind are Hunger Games and Twilight. It's just oh, and by the way, I'm a vampire sort of thing. Lots of twists and turns in this particular book. Lots of action. And there is quite a bit of emotion. I, in a lot of different ways, had a hard time kind of relating to the characters, but that's just me. That's a me thing. I really like when I can relate to a character, but there was almost nothing about Li Yin that I felt I could really relate to. But I don't feel like I've had her had to put my life on the line for my people or my country, or I have lost a grandfather, but it was not due to him sacrificing himself, so to speak. Really, if you're looking for some beautifully crafted Chinese and mythology inspired fantasy, romantasy, then this may be a really good one for you. Again, I did get this from NetGalley. I got the audiobook. I thought the narrator did a beautiful job of making the story feel vibrant and alive. I think the writer did beautifully with her words to be able to allow the narrator to create such a beautiful world. And I say that because oftentimes certain parts will fall flat when I'm reading a book. Maybe the world doesn't feel too rich, but the story feels vibrant. Well, maybe the story, maybe the environment feels really rich and lush, and maybe the story falls a little flat or the plot's a little bit weak. I think Sue Lynn Tan does a really good job of balancing that. She creates a really mentally beautiful world, and then she gives you a story that feels powerful and emotional, like fueled with emotion and passion, and kind of gives you, the reader, something to fight for as you're reading through it. So kudos to her. Really, really kudos to her. I would probably give this a 4.25, 4.5. So again, dang it, Goodreads, please give me partial stars so I can grade these things appropriately. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll like and subscribe. I hope you'll come back and see what else we're reading next. We try to read pretty much the entire gambit of books. We try to run through this gauntlet of all the things we have available and see what we can find along the way that may be entertaining. And so I hope you guys don't feel like I pigeonhole myself too often with regards to some of these books. I really try to pick up things that look entertaining not only to myself, but that I also hope that my listeners, my readers, you guys, my subscribers, would find interesting as well. That maybe you wouldn't have picked it up as something to add to your to be read list, but maybe after listening to me go on a little bit of a spiel about, you'll find some interesting things to add to your lists. I know I still have a whole year ahead of me, and my TBR is constantly growing. My goal for 2025, it's going to be about 150 books, which is quite a lot of books, but I did about 185 in 2024, so I think I can do it. I just have to stay focused and stay on top of all of my reading that I request from NetGalley. But until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll like and subscribe. I hope you'll stick around and see what else we come up with to read. And I will see you guys on the next page. I hope you have a great one. Bye.